side for Rachel. I'm getting shades of Chariot. Oh, boy. I'm getting shades of a Chariot. We've got the River, the Sword, the Queen, and the Assassin. I think that the Assassin was your occupation. I think that you were an emissary of the Queen on her errand to take somebody problematic out of flux. I'm getting shades of the River. I'm getting something very Egypty going on. Not sure what that's about. You were not the Queen. You were the Queen's upper echelon guardians. This is very Egypt, very Pharaoh, very, and I don't know if it's Queen Nefertiti or Cleopatra or if it's somebody that's adjacent to the Queen, but you are definitely royal assassin. I don't know how to put that any more plainly. You would disappear like smoke. There's something about tornado, air disaster, that you would disappear like smoke. You would know what the magicians of Egypt would use to have like a flash powder to get out of a space to create a certain outcome under the cover of smoke. You did have some issues where every once in a while that things would get a little bit screwy for you. Every once in a while, I think that you had near-death food allergy type of circumstance, and I don't know what it was, but I think it influenced you from an early age. This is nutritional or food issue where you wouldn't eat. You were a little bit skinny bones because you didn't know something was setting you off, and you didn't know for quite some time. This is when you were young as a child, but because of this, you learned to chameleon a bit. Okay, all right. Anything else? Close encounter. This is saying close encounter, watcher, guardian, extraterrestrial, but I think that this is near death is what we're getting. This is an NDE, close encounter. The closest what it's saying, but it's an NDE. This is from you had that allergic reaction, allergic response to something, and it was so strong that it's like you got a glimpse on the other side. Very trippy. All right, what else is going on here? High level in this ruthlessness that you had. It's like you were taking care of business. You were all about the business. Taking care of business needs to be happening, needs to be done. Boom, make it so. Perfect partnering and very stealthy. Very stealthy. You were prepared to go into any situation, anywhere. Again, the chameleon's plumes are coming through. Very much. You understood how it was to survive on very little or nothing. Like if you had to eat worms or whatever, you'd eat worms. If you needed to, whatever it was, you would do what it took to survive. Survival instinct is huge. Huge. Again, you walk with your ghost side a little bit. After this near-death thing, there's a ghost side that haunts you a little bit. And there's something about, from your perspective, you're a righter of wrongs. From your perspective, you're the one that is doing this work, taking care of threats to the kingdom, threats to the queen, threats to whatever realm it is in Egypt time. You're taking care of those threats. And it's like you have a ghost walker guardian going with you. After the near death, you have a guardian that walks with you. It's why you're proficient at what you do. You could have somebody that's equally sharp as an assassin come and try and poison you. Here, offer you a drink. Your ghost walker guy's like, nope, you're not going to have that. You're going to have this discerning situation. It's like, you know how people have a sixth sense? Well, you have a sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. You have bonus insight and information that people don't have. And almost people think, okay, this is a little bit creepy how you know what's going to happen or know how to get out of harm's way. But it's employed for a good cause right now. Very much for a good cause. You'll know when the battlefields will be run with blood all over the place, and you know how to avoid that. Holy shit. You know when there is time to hunker down. You know when there is time to retreat. This is a big battle right here. Let me look. Somebody wants to battle over this land, and there's going to be a river of blood if you go into that. You're advising not to. You need to take out a certain person that leads the other side that is creating the uprising. You talk to the queen about this. You talk to them about this and say, this is a really bad one. You don't want to go into it because of the bloodiness of it. And she's very stubbornly like, we're going to go into it unless there's no other route. If there's no other way, we're going to have to go into this battle. We're going to have to fight for this land and stay. And you're pleading for time. What the hell? You want 2 months, she gives you 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks and then there will be war, and that's it. That's all. There's too much already in play, too much at risk. She won't keep calm about it. The enemies are approaching from the waterways, and you're not going to have this happen any further. You've got 2 weeks to fucking straighten this out. You're thinking very much about your own family, your own kids. It's funny to think of an assassin as somebody that would have kids, but you do. This is like your job as the assassin is your profession. It's not anything personal. It's not a lack of morals. This is what you're good at. If somebody's a good bowman, a good arrow shooter, they're going to be a good arrow shooter. You don't want to go into that battle. You tell your wife and your kids that, hey, I've got 2 weeks to straighten this out, and you know if you don't, that they won't survive it. Nobody in your particular area is going to survive that. Not for even another season. What the heck? Again, the Chariot comes true. Second deck. What's up with this Chariot? It's hot, hot, hot. You have the art of misdirection and surprise as an element that is at your hands. So you go by the outskirts of where the enemy is in a large, very visible presence, as if to go somewhere else, as if joining someone else. You're making yourself really loud, puffed up, big, big, big. Like as if you're going on to meet up with other forces. You have others coming. It's like you're doubling the size of what your army might seem to be, just to show off, just to intimidate. And you need to be able to somehow get through there, not by just leading the charge, but then go undercover and get rid of this other dude. How do you do it? You're offering up information, lots of information. You cloak yourself in some kind of look that looks more like soldier than captain. You go in with informational offers. Each of these things, informational offers, you go in as if you're going to offer information in a lowly, lowly, lowly way. I think you go in and you double cross them. There's a party, there's a lot of drunkenness going on. A lot of drunkenness, a lot of food. Something's up with that. Something's up with that. something in the grain, something in the food. It's like the wine, it would be detected. The wine, it would be detected. You go in and you're taking somebody out with a poison, it seems. All at the table, all concerned. You're taking out, whoa. Yeah. You don't have to take your sword in there. You're not taking your sword in there. You're taking offerings of information. And the offerings of information and in the food, something about some kind of papery something that is there. Like I'm getting like a rice paper type of, maybe, I don't know what they call those. Like rice paper's not right. Like paper bread, like maybe like a taco pocket. What do they call that? I don't know. Maybe like a pita or some kind of thing. Like a flat round bread that has nastiness in it. Takes them out because you're going to break bread with them. You've already developed a tolerance to this shit. You could eat it all day long and never get sick. You know about this because of that allergy, because of the response to that. Something in the breadiness. Wow, you are a. You go to basically this banquet and take all the people out. You take out all the, I'm getting all the men around the table, all the key players around the table, you're taking them out. Boom. And you're like, and that's how it's done. And no more of this nonsense talk about the threat to my family. You're done with that. Wow. I don't know that you're like crazy murderous. You're just clever. And what happens after this? There's a span of time. It feels like a decade goes by. What happens after this? Man. Decade goes by where you're pretty much left to your own device. You're left to have your family. You're left to have your world just be just fine. Queen calls you up again. Queen says your services are needed again. You're not excited about this. You're like, what do you mean? I wouldn't say that you are. It's good you're on her side. I don't think you're evil, but it's good you're on the right side and not on the bad side, because this one is, she calls you up again, and what you're doing in this one is like sinking a platform, sinking a float, sinking a small boat, sinking it somehow. I don't know how you do this, but the boats give up the ghosts. You're blockading something, creating some kind of blockade and some kind of stall of time, and the boat gets sunk. Something about this river is a big boundary that needs protected, and you are fierce in the protection of it and the defending of it. It defends what is on your side of the river is yours, and it will not be taken from you or from your queen or from your family or from anyone. And somebody that shouldn't be crossing it should really stay out of your way. You are seen as one that has huge amounts of courage, huge amounts of bravery, but also a little bit feared, because let's just face it, you're good at your job. They don't want you carried away. They do want you contained. You just want to settle the fuck down for a little bit, have a little bit of normal. You keep going back to that boat. I mean, look, there it is. You feel bad about the boat. You have a little bit of guilt about the boat, because you know there were people that weren't bad people that were sacrificed or suffered because of defending the perimeter, defending the boundary. You want peace and quiet. If you can just get through 3 more years of this shit, then you get the peace and quiet. But why is it 3 more years? I don't know. It's like they really want this for whatever reason. They really want this to be held and maintained and maintained. I think they're waiting for somebody else on the other side to become powerless is what I'm getting. Yeah. They're waiting for another ruler to die and not one that you can bump off. To age out of things. It takes longer than 3 years. It takes 6 years. That old fucker just hung on and hung on and hung on and hung on. Now you feel like you've grown old. Now you feel like you're alone in the woods. Finally, you get this time in the woodland. This is you and your wife now. Your kids are fairly grown. Your kids don't know that you do what you do at all. They know you're a badass. They know you're a soldier of a sort. You have a good size amount of land and a house that's decent for the time and the era, whatever that would be. You've defeated the gremlin, and here you land. Here you stay. Here you stay. So in some way, you take your distance. You take your break from whatever this has been, this life of yours that you've created. But now you must stay where you're at. They want you contained. And there's a time of peace coming, and you are contained. It's been a lot for your wife. She dies first. She dies before you grow quite old. Your kids visit periodically. You do have some happy family occasions, some happy times. Mostly you like the stillness of this area. It's got reasonable vegetation, reasonable area, reasonable ability to thrive. Not quite sure why. It's like you've got area that's an offshoot of the river that you will have enough that you'll be okay. That's what's going on. Anything else? You do tell your stories to somebody that follows after you. And this isn't to a son. This is to somebody else. There is a sense of instruction, of teaching, of knowing what happened in certain situations that carries the history and the knowledge forward so that when the queen's assassin dies, she's not short an assassin. That's complete. Wow. Yeah. Wow. I don't even know. I don't think that you're an assassin in this life, but I think you're very clear about the cause of justice and about what bullshit will not be put up with and where your boundaries are. And if they've been crossed or someone crosses you, you're going to want to fuck them up in this life. You will have a strong sense of justice or vengeance. Don't confuse the two. Wow. Yeah. Holy moly.